thank you everyone for coming. Welcome to our Friday afternoon speaker series. Our guest this week is Sabina Ali from the Thorncliffe Park Women's Committee, who will let us know about some of the programs that are going on. It is quite a very active and community-centered area, and we have been able to work with them on various food and toy drives. So we're looking forward to hearing more about this. Sabina?
Okay, let me start with what the Thorncliffe Park Women's Committee is. Thorncliffe Park Women's Committee is a resident-led initiative that started in 2008 with a vision of revitalizing the public space in Thorncliffe Park, which is the only accessible green space, RV Burgess Park, and which is right in the heart of the Thorncliffe Park neighborhood. We were all moms, mostly immigrants. It was my second day in Canada that I visited the park with my family, and I was very much disappointed looking at the conditions in the park, how the things are. There were no garbage bins, there were no swings for the children, and it was very not much use of the park during the summertime. So I was really very disappointed. How can this be in such an advanced country like this? Because we come from the countries that are called third national countries, and it was I was greatly disappointed. And then I met, as a newcomer, you try to make friends and all. I was meeting the women in the park, and some of the women also had the same issues regarding the condition of the park. So we decided, why don't we do something for our children in this neighborhood? So we got together, and we worked with the city and the councillor to make this park a better place for families and children. And as you know, working with the city of Toronto, it takes ages to get in touch with him, get in touch with them, and getting any response from them. In the meantime, we thought, like, why not we make this park a place of engagement, a place where people living in this neighborhood treat this as their backyards, because we all live in the apartments, right? We are living in an apartmental life, and there's no access to the green space for the children. So we wanted to build something in the park where people can come together, meet their neighbors, share information, and celebrate. So that is how we started. And but the question was how to bring people in the park. So we started we got an idea, maybe we should do some art activities in the park. And this was in June 2008, when the Jenna Jean Marie Community Recreation Center was under renovation. And then there were no recreational opportunities for the children in that neighborhood. So we thought, like, let's do some art activities in the park. And we choose Friday as a day because Saturday and Sunday is a weekend, and people and kids are in a weekend mode. So the women in our group, we contributed like color pencils, crayons, markers, sheets, and we were there in the park. And when people started passing by or looking from their apartment buildings, that something is happening in the park. So they came down to the park, and it was all like a word of mouth, and it just spread like a fire. There were so many people. The kids brought their moms to the park, and we engaged the children in the activities. And the main thing that we were looking for was the input for what the kids would like to see in the park. And then we also engaged the adults who came with the children, uh, and we wanted them to give some input what they would like to see in the park. So all the children put their ideas on the papers using the crayons and the markers. So we collected all those ideas and later we presented that to the city of Toronto. So this is what the community wants. Usually what happens is when the community consultations happen in an immigrant neighborhood like Thorncliffe, and these consultations usually happen like after 6, and people and the people in Thorncliffe are they are very busy with their children at that time. The children are back from school and they go to the madrasas or tuitions, so they don't have times. And the priority, especially in the immigrant neighborhood, is your jobs. You're looking for jobs, you're a newcomer, so you don't have time for all these things. So we thought like we can engage the residents in a very informal way, rather by calling them to where we want. We can reach out to them. And not only we reached out to the people in the park with these activities, we also reached out to the people going to the school, going to the mosque, in the mall, wherever we you know were able to find people. We talked to them, we got the feedback about what they would like to see in the park. So after each activity, and during Fridays, we also invited like a local artist from the neighborhood to do to perform in the park, like to do a storytelling or a magic show, or playing an instrument in the park, so that the kids gather, they do some artwork, and after each performance, we talk about how to keep our park clean. And we invited the kids who participated, the children and the parents, to do the cleanups in the park, so that they built a sense of responsibility and take the ownership of keeping their park clean. So after each cleanup, we used to give them some kind of incentive, so that they contributed towards something good. Um, and this was really successful. We never planned anything. We didn't even had money to buy the art materials. We were all immigrant, but we really liked the idea and the response actually that we got from the community, how people were interested. They wanted to come out, they wanted to contribute. Um, so that summer was very successful. See, all Friday, 10 Fridays, we had some activity. We animated the park with some kind of activities, and we got feedback from the people, and we presented to the city. And the first thing that we got from the city was the garbage bins. So we celebrated having the garbage bins. We had the event again. We did the cleanup with the kids and all. And later on, like in fall, and then winter came, then we thought, what should we do in winter now? So we came up with the idea of a winter carnival. So we hosted first winter carnival in 2009, partnering with the city of Toronto to have a winter event in the park, because most our neighborhood is an immigrant neighborhood, and we wanted the newcomers to celebrate winter, because 6 months we are in winter months and there's a lot of snow and there's no other option, rather just celebrate what you have. So that was one way of bringing the newcomers to the park during the winter time, during the snow. Sometimes in the winter carnivals we had snow, sometimes we had a dry winter carnival. And usually we give out hot soup and hot chocolate in the winter, during the winter carnival. And we also have like a bonfire where the children, moms, and all this sit around the fire. And we partner with the Ontario Science Center as well, and they donate like 3 or 5 family passes. And we have a raffle ticket. And this is a litter-free winter carnival, and whoever returns the cup of hot chocolate and the soup, they get a raffle ticket, and they get a chance to win the science center passes. So that's a litter-free event for us, and it has been really successful all these years. And the last winter carnival that we had was before COVID. It was in 2020, which was well received by the community. People come out with their children and they buy hot soup, hot chocolate. We also have activities for the children. We partner with the Toronto Library, Jenna Jean Marie Community Recreation Center, with the youth program, with the youth outreach program worker who bring the youth activities, for the youth during this event. Um, and this is how we celebrate winter in Thorncliffe Park. And hopefully, I'm not sure, I think it's on February, from February 21st, that we are getting into the step 2 of reopening. So hopefully, and outdoor events will be allowed to have 100 people at a time. So we just have to figure this out, how this is going to work. Um, and then in summer, we heard that a lot of women in Thorncliffe are the quiet operators. They bring, clothing, jewelry from their home countries, and then they sell it out to their neighbors, at a very reasonable cost. And those items are probably, very expensive in the stores, and might not be readily available. So we came up with the idea of having a market in the park. So usually Toronto has like either the farmers market and the good food market. So our market neither fell into the good food market criteria nor the farmers market criteria. We were something in the middle. We did have like a produce stall. We have like food stalls, but we also have women selling clothing, jewelry, other item handicrafts. So these are like not purely, artisans, but they are, importing some stuff, and they are also making some stuff at home. Like they bring the fabric, some women stitch, and then they sell. Um, so the first market was very small, and we didn't had any resources to host the market. So we went to the neighborhood office and asked them if they could lend their tables and chairs. This is our idea, we want to do, and if you can lend us the tables for the market, that would be helpful for us. So we used to walk from the park to the office to get the tables as soon as their link classes get over. And then we run the market from 3 to 9 and store all the tables after the market in the storage there. And then come back on Saturday morning and move the tables from there and put it back in their office. It was quite a bit of work, but we really liked doing it because of the response that we were getting from the neighborhood, and from the community itself. Like in the first market, we just had like 5 women who were selling something, one food vendor and other. So when people started looking at it, and we didn't do any outreach for the market at all, it was all word of mouth. And when people started looking from their balconies what's happening in the park, so they came, women wanted to be part of the market. And that year, the city was on strike, so we didn't go through the hassle of the permits and anything. And we also invited the city councillor and the city staff to come and have a look at the market, so to understand what this market means for the community and how it is different from the other markets. And that year was very, very successful. We started with 5, and we have about like we 100 women on our list who had been part of this markets all these years, and it has been now 14 years that we had been supporting this entrepreneurship for the newcomers. We not only market is like an incubation space for the newcomers, for the startups who do not have to put a lot of money, into that, and then they can even test their ideas, like what is good for them, and how they can do better. They are learning, they're meeting other women, and a lot of women has expressed that they have built their self-esteem, they have improved their conversation skills, and it is one way of coming out for them, a time for themselves. And it was very amazing to see how men even supported the women to set up their tables, and taking care of children when the women are busy during the market. And the location itself, the park itself, is such a place that the kids are using splash pad, they are in the park, and then the women, they didn't have to send the children to the daycare or the babysitter. They are saving the money there as well. So the kids that are in the park, husbands are taking care of the kids, and the women are leading this. So it is like a time for themselves. As you know, like in most of the homes, women are take a lead. They have a lot of responsibilities of the children and their families. So this Friday was the time for themselves, and we really got a great response from the community. And this has been really a successful model that of community engagement, where in the past, like we had delegates from Germany, we had delegates from United States of America and Denmark visiting our market and learning about our model, how to engage the immigrant community, and how positively, and how you can have that impact on the community itself. um, and apart from that, so market has been successful, and we not only give the opportunities for the women in this local market in our area, and if the women are interested in moving forward, we also connect them to the other markets. Like we had two vendors who were at Evergreen Brickworks Market. So we tried to build that relationship, and they were charged like this on a subsidized cost, working with the other organization. They were saving money on that, and we covered the insurance for the vendors, and we provided some the tables and other things that they need for the market. And some vendors express their interest to participate in a bigger events, which are 2 or 3 days events. So they can participate as a women's committee or a group, where we can work with the organizers and negotiate on the price and let these women participate. And this has been really a successful model of entrepreneurship. And we do not have more resources. Whatever we have, like we try to build those connections and let the women train them and let the women lead. Recently, we also had workshops on financial management and how to do the marketing. Now everything is virtual. We are living in very different times. So how to do the online business, how to do the marketing. And we also had like a virtual platform for the women to as like a virtual market on our website, where women can sell their clothing and jewelry. So we had to show them how to take the pictures of the clothing and what kind of lights they had to use. And everybody has smartphones nowadays. So it was, a learning experience for us as well as for them. So this is, a snapshot about our market that we had been running so successfully for 14 years. And the other activities that we do is we run 2 community gardens in the neighborhood. One is in the park and one is in the private property, which is 35 Thorncliffe Park Drive. So we were the first organization that worked with the apartment building, um, uh, the private property managers, so that they can, lend us that space in their backyard to run the garden. And the women who are living in 35 or the nearby, buildings, they are part of that garden. And the garden in RV Burgess Park, we have like about 20 plots for the individuals who grow the food in their garden. And we also have a huge children's garden area. And we also have some plots where we grow herbs and some vegetables that we use it in our other social enterprise, which is the cafe in the park. And those vegetables and herbs, that those are used to in the meal preparation, as well as we make salads, and that is used in the burgers. And usually the strawberries we make very tasty strawberries that are locally grown in our garden. um, and um, and the Park Cafe is also, an extension of the market. So market was pretty much seasonal, running from May until end of September, or sometimes in October. So we wanted something to be running throughout the year in the park. So that was the idea, where the Park Cafe idea came in. And it's a shipping container, a modified shipping container, where we have like a small kitchen, which is public health certified, and we have small, other equipment, and to prepare the snacks, and for the children. And we sell it in the neighborhood through the cafe. And with that money, we are able to pay. We hire the women from the neighborhood who do not have any Canadian experience. So we hire those women, we train them, and then they spend certain time in the cafe. And once they build their skills, then they get graduated, and then they can run their own business, or they look for other jobs where we try to help them in getting into the mainstream. And during pandemic, a lot of organizations, programmings and all, we were mostly offering the programming. So the pandemic changed a lot of things, and we underwent different other changes within our organization. So we changed from a program to this service delivery now, where we started offering freshly prepared, culturally relevant meals. We did a little bit of research during pandemic, where we found out that people were getting support with non-perishable food items and other food, but a lot of seniors in the neighborhood, and the single moms with children and all, they were looking for the prepared food. That was the gap that we identified. And then we came up with this Neighbors in Need meal program. And this was funded by United Way, and then continued with Community Food Centers Canada, Second Harvest, and even East Effort. So until now, we had offered about 5,000 meals in the neighborhood, and we distributed 500 produce boxes, and some gift cards, and about 500 non-perishable food packages for 500 families and all. So we had been trying to support our community who had been greatly impacted by COVID in this way. And in the meantime, we also want to have some activities in the park as a COVID recovery for people who had been, staying at home. and visit the park. And we have like a tandoor oven in the park, which is the North America's first ever tandoor oven in North American parks. Usually the parks in City of Toronto and other parks, they have the barbecue stands and all, or the pizza oven. So this RV Burgess is the first park that has the tandoor oven. When we came with this idea of having the tandoor oven because we wanted to represent, like the tandoor represent the cultural heritage of South Asian communities, right? And Thorncliffe being predominantly South Asian, we thought like this would make really sense to have like a tandoor oven in the park. And we sent the request to the city that this is what we are looking for. And to our surprise, we got a quick answer from the city. But it took about 2.5 years to bring actual tandoor oven to the park. So each Friday night during the markets, we make fresh bread. Tandoor requires, special skills. Women who have those skills can operate the tandoor. And we make variety of breads. We make flat bread. We make bulani, which is like an Afghan bread with a potato, onion, and other vegetables filling. And we make sesame bread. And we make also keema naan with minced meat. So we have been trying all this, to build, and it gives, on Fridays, you can actually see how many people come to the park. There are about 700 to 900 people in the park, coming together and, meeting their neighbors, buying things for their friends and families, having fun, eating food. So it gives a lot of satisfaction that we are doing something in the community. And with this mail program, I think I get in touch with a lot of seniors. They just give me a call, and they express how lonely they feel during these challenging times. They're not able to go out. They are not able, because of all these restrictions, right? They are not able to go to the mosque. They're not able to go to the church where they can meet their friends and all. So they are living in isolation. So we give them the call, we just give them calls, we ask them how they are feeling. They really feel good. And sometimes when they keep calling us, and they even check with us telling, oh, am I disturbing you? I'm so sorry. I am just feeling alone. So that is the reason I'm giving the call. So those are the challenges, we are dealing with collectively as a community. So we really look forward to better times, and we are living in a new normal, and hopefully this new normal is will be good for all of us.
Well, you
So
certainly made the most of it. You are really a great example. We've been wondering how to connect the community, because we have, we've got all these apartment buildings going up, but we've also got a lot of, empty nester seniors and people, and it's just like how to bring them all together. So this is quite amazing. Does anyone have any questions for Sabina?
Just overwhelmed by what you've achieved. It's really wonderful to hear that you were able to take the park and create something that brings the community together, and to continue this in COVID times. Do you know if any other communities have followed your example and have learned from what you have done?
Like things like the market and all, that's been happening. Like Mabel Arts visited once to our community neighborhood, and looking at we had like once the iftar, like during Ramadan, right? When we have the market and all, we used to have the breaking of the fast together with the vendors, with the volunteers, whoever is in the park. So
Mm.
that was, something that they were really impressed about. But they do not do the market. It is mostly with the arts and the meals together program.
Mhm.
And we were really looking forward, like last summer, to when the restrictions were opened, but unfortunately the park was closed for the
Oh.
construction purpose. That was, I think now it's open. It is a renewed park, which is good for the community. But the timing when the park was closed was so odd, especially when the province was reopening and the park was closed.
Yeah.
That was challenging for the women with the kids in the strollers and all. They had to go the other way around and use the school backyard. So that was something challenging, and a lot of people missed, being in the park during the summertime. And then again, the winter arrived and everybody gets indoors. And we were also looking for having some winter markets. And we are working still with the city. It takes a lot of time, and we are hopeful that, we get the permission to do the winter carnival and some other one or two winter markets in the coming months, or maybe the spring markets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and I think it's amazing. There's a group in Toronto called Food Share, and
Yeah.
they hosted. Yes, you know of them.
Yeah,
They
I mean,
hosted.
they are our trustee organization, and we are part of their, supportive partnership platform.
Oh,
And
excellent! Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
They did a presentation, but it was more on the Black community in Toronto and about that same idea of culturally appropriate foods for people during this pandemic and reaching out to the seniors. So I think that's so wonderful that you were able to also initiate that for the seniors.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, no, you hear so many good things that can happen. Sabina, I'm going to tell you about another group too that's kind of interesting. And as I hear your story and what you've achieved, I don't know if you heard of anything called the Shoe Project.
Shoe project? No.
Okay, you're way beyond this, but the Shoe Project is a group that started many years ago, and their idea was to speak to immigrant women about their experience of coming to Canada and what it meant to them. But also they found that many of the women they were speaking with were afraid to speak publicly. They didn't have enough English or the skills. So what this group does is work with women who are interested to help them develop English, to learn to tell their story, but they tell it through shoes. And so many of the women will choose a pair of shoes that they wore into Canada, and then they tell their story around the shoes. And it may be an old pair of sneakers that brought them here. There was a doctor who came from the Middle East and spoke about how she couldn't become a doctor easily in Canada. And she talked about what her shoes had taken her to Africa to help with eye surgeries and things. And then gradually how she then had her qualifications here. Other people show their first pair of winter boots and what winters meant to them coming to Canada. But if you're interested, I think they're an interesting group that women can link into who are looking for mentors and helpers to tell their story and to become more proficient. You have it. You have beautiful proficiencies. I'm not saying it's for you.
But this might be helpful for the other women in the neighborhood, right? Other women who are women entrepreneurs who are part of our market or the cafe.
Yeah. And they relate. Usually before COVID, the reason I became interested, they were hosting down at the University of Toronto an afternoon session, and there were 10 women who were presenting their stories, usually told in about 5-10 minutes. It's very, but sharing their stories and talking of their experience. And you learn so much about different cultures, where people came from, some of the difficulties in coming to Canada, and some of the barriers that people had to face and work their way through. So I think you've got good stories to share.
It's one thing we've done here is to reach out to our seniors, the isolated ones, is to get more of them online by the loaning of a a tablet and a Fire Stick, and then mentoring them and talking them through that. Is there a need for that in Thorncliffe at all?
I can check. I'm not sure about that, but I can definitely look into that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nina, you've been a part of that project so much.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking when you were saying that you were checking in on the seniors, phone call, and I know Manor Road, Betty and Susan are also part of the care members, right? Like
Congregational care.
Yeah, a congregational care. Yes. So it's a really an important component also of the program, is to really connect and make sure everybody's doing okay. And we would love to, hear more about how you're also, interested in setting up that tech side of like a senior tech side, because we've had really really positive review, and not just watching, right? It's really knowing what's going on around, and this kind of interaction also helps. You can't go out, but when we see you, when we hear you, it's something else, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Especially if you're contacting your family or your kids. And it's what this does for us. This program has enabled people who had to phone in on Zoom to actually be there and be able to see everybody and to interact with them. And it's the same, with family. And then, of course, we've got one member who we never thought we'd ever get her online. She's in her 80s. She loves the internet.
Yeah.
She just loves the internet.
Yeah, we have an 87-year-old and an 89-year-old. Nina, I've got to help my 89-year-old. It's not working. And with the snow, I haven't been able to walk up to see her. But one of the ladies that we worked with was having anxiety attacks because of the isolation of COVID. And she was not willing to do one. And then we sort of said, well, we need somebody. Can you help others by maybe trying? And she's just sailed through. She's watching YouTube all the time and participating in the virtual teas. Yeah. And no more anxiety attacks, that was a positive, Nina. That was a big one.
I think, we are in touch with many seniors, especially with this meal program. I can check with the outreach workers and the meal delivery person, right, who delivers the meal, just to speak to them. And it's one way of building that relationship. Also, a person who is delivering food, they're just not in the doorbell and leaving the food there. They're waiting there for people to see them if they are doing okay, and just to say hi, hello, how they are doing. That is a lot, especially during this time when everybody are alone, isolated. They are living in isolation.
Yes.
So it's and one of the senior who called me, she sometimes cries, telling, oh, I am all alone. So I had to give her some time and say, okay, how are you feeling? Is it okay now? So have some conversation with her. And then once she feels better, then she hung up the phone. So that's really painful, where people are going through such tough times. And during pandemic last year too, a lot of seniors underwent surgeries, and they told me, calling me back, telling this program, this service, meal service, really supported them during this a tough time they were going through, because they weren't able to cook. Some were not able to walk. So that was very supportive for them. And hopefully, I think we are just trying to do little. There is so much that we can do, and we are trying our level best to fill in those gaps.
Yes. Well, we certainly would be interested in working with you on this. So it's, video chats make a huge difference. In the early part of 2020, when a friend of mine it was PTSD, quite simply. She was a nurse, and had to take medical leave, and we would have video chats, and that would help get her through it. And I think so. There's so many platforms for that, and this is something that, phone calls are great, they're wonderful, but being able to see the people makes all the difference.
Sure. And is this program part of the United Church? And do they offer any kind of gadgets or something, or it is like?
Well, this is from Canada, Grants for Seniors, New Horizons grants, and this is they fund this program that we have. They didn't at first, and then they asked, "Can you tweak it for COVID?" We said yes. So this is how we are reaching out to the community. Originally, it was going to be drop-in. Now it's a virtual drop-in, which reaches more people. And so this is it's the intention of the federal program is to connect with seniors to make sure that they are being cared for. So I think this definitely qualifies. And when John Joseph comes back, I can talk with him about this, because we're going to apply
arriving around 3:30, 4 o'clock today.
Okay.
I had a message that he was in the Amsterdam airport.
This is really
We'll give him time to get over his jet lag. I mean,
Sorry, Sabina, you were saying something, Sabina? Sorry.
No, if I find out if there is an interest, so whom should I contact?
You can contact me. Well, you can contact Nina, and she'll contact me.
Yeah. Okay. Because I have her email address, so
okay then.
Yeah.
Let her know.
Okay, good, great. Hopefully you can teach us a few things.
It's all about learning from each other. So what is going on there? What kind of programs you guys have been doing, and then we can share, what's happening here, and learn from each other.
Well, you're doing sort of stuff on the same, like, we do food and clothing drives, but you've taken it the next step to have like the meeting place, market, the park. See, our problem is most people have backyards, or they have this or that, and so getting a central meeting place, you get, June Rowlands Park, they're over on Mount Pleasant. The people are always there because that's huge. And we have the Apple Tree Group Farmers Market starting in May, running to October. So that's another place. But most of our... yes?
Is the market indoors or the outdoors?
It's the farmer is outdoors. It's in the park.
Okay.
Even with the weather,
Maybe
whatever it is.
Once to see how the farmer market is.
It's not, sorry, continue.
Yeah, and usually in our market we have like a bread baking, market vendors, produce stall, and we also have like activities for the children, arts activities. We get about 80 to 100 children participating on a market day. Sometimes it's over 100 as well, but it's not all at one time, but it is in different like cohorts. We just take like 20 kids, and then we tell them, okay, you can come after half an hour or 45 minutes. So, and like 2 years back, we, one of our garden coordinator, he was taking the pictures of what the children are doing in the garden, because we also have a very huge children's garden area where we have, and we also have a partnership with the Thorncliffe Park Public School, where they bring the classes to the garden, like sometime during like between May and June. So we get, again, they bring the classes from September to October. So we get about like 40 class visits in the garden. And the children in September, they do, they pick up vegetables and all from the garden, and then they go back to the school. And with the help of our volunteers and teachers, they make the soup. And, we have been doing some amazing stuff with the children at the school. And from after, when the school is closed during summer, those children come to the park because they live in the community, right? So they are part of our children's drop-in program. So they learn everything from cleaning, watering, weeding, harvesting. So it's a really a nice way of teaching kids or letting the children know that the food that they eat is not really from the grocery stores. You are actually growing it. So that is, our the main purpose, that the children come together and they learn those skills and, um, like be part of this and beautiful nature. And also Arts in the Park activity is to give them the outdoor classroom environment, because every time they are indoors, so that they feel close to the nature and use some recycled items to make things. So those are the yeah, they take pictures and all, and then we print the pictures, and one on the last day of the market we put all the pictures on the information table. They put all these strings, and then they attach all the pictures on those strings, and everybody comes, all the kids, and say, oh, he is my friend, it is me, or something like that. So it's a kind of again, a gathering place where people know each other and they're having a good time.
That's good. That is wonderful. Okay. Any more questions or anything else? Well, thank you everyone for coming. And thank you, Sabina. I've put the link to your organization's webpage in the chat if anyone wants to follow up and see, do some research. And I hope you can join us next week. Our speaker will be Pauline Martin, who has spearheaded two enormous relief efforts to Haiti and to Jamaica in the last year. And she will be talking to us about Black History Month. So I hope you can join us for that.